ultimately is just to get to a place where I have something to pass down to my children, and I can give them the best life imaginable.
Now growing up, I just want to say that I want to repay you guys by helping everybody else, the family.
It's okay, Jimmy. You know we love you.
Bị sớm mua chưa ya sa tàu lưu này nhiều cả chia lưu thao bị tranh mây sẽ để bế cho nhẹ là bế chín trái with the nhỏ ok bế mu khó tư là bế yên mu tàu cứ cho phong như xin anh nói vì cho cái khứ
Hello, Nyajong. Welcome to the Pieces again. Here we are starting off season 2 with Pheng Her.
Pheng Her, yeah.
Thank you for coming on the show, Pheng.
Thanks for having me too.
Yeah.
So
we got Pheng Her here. He's from Oak Grove right now, right, Pheng?
Yep.
And he's got a hobby farm. And as you guys can see here, we got some products in the front here from Pheng's hobby farm. And Pheng, you got a suit here on too, right?
Yeah.
Is that from your beekeeping, right?
Yeah. So this is my bee suit, and we were just talking about how dirty it was, and I was just saying, you should be concerned if my bee suit was clean, right? That would mean that I'm not doing any kind of real work, right?
Right.
So, hopefully this is evidence that I'm an actual real beekeeper.
Yeah.
I'm actually out there doing the work. So.
Yeah. So we're excited to have you on the show, Pheng. I know you come from great background experience, and we'll kind of highlight some of that as we go on along.
Yeah. Awesome.
I know you've been doing some weight training and stuff like that. You used to do body.
Used to,
building, right?
Not anymore. I was a different person then. Yeah.
So it's good, man, because through our life we evolve, y'all.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning part of our life, we're young men growing up. We try to masculinity is a big part of our life, y'all.
Oh yeah.
And then as we grow, have kids, we start being more open to the world, be more vulnerable because our kids need that from us, right? We can't just be dad that crunches down on our child all the time.
Exactly. And you to offer anything real to your children, you got to have some real life experiences, right?
For sure.
Doing a couple of different things and dipping your toes and your feet into every aspect of life. So I haven't done it all, but I've done a lot.
Exactly.
Well,
Johnny, what about the stories?
Yeah. Well, you guys might have seen that we're in a different location or a different area instead of the original room that we're in. And I was telling too, man, all these great stories from these history that we listen to, they all come from just gathering in right?
Yeah.
So we're like, man, we got this. Come tell our stories and get all this information out there. So, Pheng, man, we've been following you with all these hobby farm that you got. Tell us your story, man.
Yeah. So essentially, I started my farm maybe like 2 years ago. The story is I left my career and to start my farm. The truth is I'm still working a full-time job, but it's more romantic that way, right? To sell that story. But yeah, so I left my career. Essentially, I was working a job that I wasn't happy at. I was making good money, and some people would say that I was successful at it. I just kind of operated on this idea that, you get a job in an office, wear a suit and tie, and that means you're successful, right?
Right.
And I just never challenged that, and I just kind of, that's what I did. So I went high school, college, got a job after college, just worked my way to a nice middle office, and then, I got there and I just realized, man, what am I doing? I'm not built for this. I'm not built to sit on a computer. I'm not built to sit in an office. I need to move around. And then eventually, I've always farmed as a hobby with my mother. And I was always into the outdoors. So eventually I talked to my wife. We came up with a business plan, and we said, all right, we're going to move out to the country and we're going to start this thing. And so this is kind of where we're at. So like you said earlier, we're in Oak Grove, Minnesota. We have laying hens. We used to do some meat birds. We have dairy goats. We also have honeybees. And from our honeybees, we make so lip balm, hand balms out of the wax. So this year we're planning to pull honey too. A lot of people have been asking about that. We also make maple syrup. So we tap some of the maple trees on our property and we cook it down from maples. Oh shoot, I should have brought some. I'm sorry. Dang, I'll have to send you guys some.
Yeah. So rewind back and if you don't mind telling us career path.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to say anywhere specifically, because I kind of shit on places as I tell my story. But I went to college for kinesiology. I didn't go to grad school because school was already really tough for me. So then, I could have. The idea was that the original plan was that I go back and do physical therapy. But I graduated college with like a 2.6, high school with like a 2.7. So school was already tough for me. So then, so I eventually got a job doing youth work. And I was like, I led a couple of youth programs. I eventually did some youth advocacy. Did inner city youth programming, which was great. I grew up in Boy Scouts. I grew up in a bunch of different programs. I have met a lot of really positive people through like a lot of youth programming. So it was, I was passionate and giving back and working in my community. I grew up in North Minneapolis, so it was it could be a tough place to grow up if you're not connected with people, if you don't meet a lot of the right people. And I was very fortunate to meet a lot of good people early on and have a good family.
Yeah, because in North Minneapolis, you either come out a gangster, or you come out like on the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah. So
it's either one or another, right?
Yep. It either ends up really good or really bad, and so. And I was one of the lucky ones, and that was because of being involved in youth programs.
Yeah,
and so it was really cool as an adult to kind of or as a professional to work in youth programming. So I did that for a number of years. Eventually did some leadership, and then I eventually came to managing like a nonprofit. In the inner city, kind of the same idea, not working with youth, but working with adults to help them find jobs and careers and getting them back in schools and stuff like that. So I mean, it was stuff that I thought I wanted to do. I was definitely passionate in it, but any kind of career like that, when you're working for somebody else, you think your job is to help people, but your job is to get numbers, right? You're chasing these upscale numbers, crazy projections, and at some point you lose sight of working with the community. And that's just kind of with any job, right?
I feel that too, because like you go to work every day, man, crunch those numbers, man. You gotta get in the product. You gotta push all those products out, man. You mentioned a little bit about Boy Scout. Is that an influence to you going towards where you're going to right now?
Absolutely. Because we went camping about once a month. So I was, I grew up in the inner city, but I was always in the woods. I became very familiar and very comfortable outside. And then on top of gardening with my mom, like it just kind of it instilled like a little like a fearlessness in the outdoors. And so eventually it was just kind of like, all right, why not move out there? And so when I moved out there right after or sometime after I had my first child. And the idea was that I'm able to also take my share my love for the outdoors with my daughter. So
talk a little bit about mom with guardian. And what value did she teach you of like guardian? Because like I was gardening with grandma too. I was like, I was just a kid. I didn't know anything. I was like, do this. Okay, I'm just doing that. But I never really got a great connection or value between garden. What value did mom teach you with that?
Well, like, you never realize it as a little kid, right?
Right.
Because to you know, but as an adult, I found comfort in it, and then eventually I realized it's like you build resilience, right? You plant 1,000 seeds and maybe 100 grows, and so there's just the idea of continuing to work at something and bettering your craft, and then it's creative problem solving, right? Because you're always going to come across new issues. And then, solving those issues on the go with your limited resource. And so, she had multiple sclerosis. So we didn't go and garden, like a big garden anywhere. We just plowed up the yard. So thankfully, because I think I do hear stories of like some of my friends that went to go garden at like the big gardens and they hated it. So like, I think if I would have had that experience, where I was out there for the all weekend, right, I might not be gardening now, right? I might not be a farmer now, right? It would have turned me off. But then because it was just my yard, I didn't have to go anywhere, travel anywhere. I just went outside, did whatever my mom asked. I can say now that it was a pleasant experience.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We often find a lot of peace in the things we like to do.
Yeah,
So I think just like what you said there, we got drilled in there with farming because then you go rent like an acre, 2 acres, and we're trying to mass produce.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't like anywhere where you get guided towards it. We're like, because they do all of that, and we're like, dang, this is a lot of information. It was just thrown at us. And nothing was written down, nothing was jotted down. They go, because back then, they just go by the season of like, okay, this is the right season or this is this season. Right?
And it's just passed down information. And that's why I feel a closeness. My mother passed last year. I do feel a closeness to my mother because I am on the farm. I am gardening. I'm doing something that she taught me, and I have the opportunity to pass that on to my daughters now. So it's a really cool thing, and there's something deep rooted, like something very Hmong in me. Like deep in my soul that makes me feel really good. I freaking wake up and I hear the chickens crowing. In my backyard. I'm just like, oh yeah, something feels right.
I have a connection with that too. It definitely feels something that man, I'm home. Cause like during my travel out of country, I was like waking up in the morning of roosters crowing. I was like, man, I'm not used to that in the cities, but it
feels good though.
Good.
Yeah. Something deep inside you.
It does. Tell us a little about like balancing with your personal life and your personal career that you're changing into.
There's absolutely
into farming
no balance. There's no balance. Or
it's hard to find that though.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. When I was working, all my positions after college were salary positions. So, and that's part of the reason why I left, because I'd be in the office 9 to 5, and then I'd go home and answer phone calls, answer emails. And on the weekends, now I'm doing programming. I'm doing setting up events, right? And so I was always on, and so that burnt me out. But for me, it's just hard for me to say no. And so now, like, I still do have a job. I work now as an overnight mechanic. It's just like my first job where I punch in and punch out, which is really nice. And I get overtime. Dude, like that, I didn't know that was a thing, man. So in the past where I do these 60 hours, I never got compensated for it. Now I freaking, I take home like what I earn. And it's nice too, because like I said, in my previous careers, I was chasing these obscure numbers. Now I'm actually building something. I'm putting something together. I'm helping, at the end of my day, I can go, I fixed that. That's running, and so there's like a versus I'm getting close to that number, or I hit that number to only have that number reset tomorrow. And as far as balance goes, right now it's really tough because I'm a new business owner. we've been at it for some time, but we're still growing and developing. We kind of just found our niche in lip balm actually a couple months ago, and like the hand lotions. We originally got into this to produce food. Growing up in North Minneapolis, we were inside a food desert, so very passionate about growing food and teaching people how to grow food. And so that is still our goal at some point. But food, that stuff, it's not easy, and it's very time consuming, and there's a lot of like laws and logistics behind it. Here I can make the product out of the beeswax, and I can ship it out to people. So I believe you guys had Shiso on, and he talked about the niceness of being e-commerce. And so, yeah, there's some niceness to that. And so where my first 2 years, I was like dropping off food, like vegetables, dropping off eggs, and I wasn't making no money. And so now I get to just ship stuff. So that kind of helps. That saves a lot of time. And so, and then as far as like my family, I try to involve them as much as possible. We farm, we live on the farm. We're not too far from the city too. But every morning, I took my daughters out. We would grab eggs. We'd feed the chickens. We'd feed the goats. My daughter's been in the bee yard with me. She's very comfortable with the bees. My biggest fear is that one day she's going to get stung. That will happen, and she's going to go, oh, man, I don't like these things no more. And even now, so she's 4.5. Like, she sees a wasp or a hornet, and she thinks it's, like, one of the honeybees. And I'm going to go, one day she's going to get stung by that thing. And, it's going to be brutal, and because she's going to confuse the two.
Well, there's only one way we learn, right?
Yeah. Yep.
By experience. Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're out there, And so.
So what about your products here? What do you does this all come from your bees?
Yeah.
Right there, all your products?
So we do purchase like oils.
Okay.
My wife, she's kind of in charge of knowing what oils are good for your skin, so and good for your hair and whatever else.
Right.
So we make a lip balm, then we make paw balm for your dogs for the paws for the winter time, and then also for the coat and nose. And then we also just make like hand lotions and stuff like that. And so we originally pulled all of our own wax, but we did have to buy wax from a local guy, Ames Farms, where I get all my bees from. You'll see me shouting them out a lot. Like, they actually help me out a lot with my stuff. And so I get the beeswax all locally, and then eventually we would love to be able to produce all of our own through with the help of them, of
That's
course.
great.
So.
That's great.
So are these all manufactured on the farm too?
On site.
Wow.
Yep.
That's good.
That's what we call organic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't get any more organic than that, man.
For sure.
So
For sure.
it's all made by me.
So make sure you guys check out Guerrilla Pastures out too. And Pheng, how could they follow you?
Yeah, so you check us out on Instagram and Facebook. We also have a website at Guerrilla Pastures. That's Guerrilla, not like the monkey, but Guerrilla like guerrilla warfare. So it's GUERRILLA, Guerrilla. Like guerrilla warfare.
All right.
And the name actually originated from, if you're familiar with guerrilla warfare, it's kind of like this idea that you would fight battles in a non-traditional way with non-traditional tactics. And so we want to farm and grow food in these kind of less traditional ways. Eventually our goal was to teach people how to grow food in the city, because where I'm from.
Right.
And so we always want to pay homage to that and eventually make it our goal to do that. So.
That's awesome. We always say, chase your passion. Do like what you love to do, so you wake up doing it every day and it's not work. Absolutely. How do you feel like you're waking up every day can just like, man, I love doing this.
I love this.
Yeah.
Like I said, I still work a regular job, but I'm not working from home. I punch in, I punch out. And when I'm home, I'm completely present with my family, and I'm completely present about with the farm.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely love it. I was very stressed working in the office in the city. And I developed like bad habits. I was drinking a lot. I wasn't really taking good care of myself, my mental health and physical health.
Yeah.
And it became detrimental to me and my family, at some point. And then that's when we kind of made that decision to go, all right, let's stop all this and take care of ourselves, by moving out there and
Pheng, I think you're hitting on something right there because I'm making that transition right now too.
Okay.
Exactly the thing you're talking about, because I feel like our health is like deteriorating at what we do with our Hmong life right now.
Yeah.
And if we don't kind of change that, our outlook is not gonna be very far. Because everybody's getting sick. Everybody's got the gout, right? Everybody's got like the kidney stones, right?
Yep.
And kidney failures, heart problems. And I'm not gonna say it's mainly because we drank too much, but I just think it just has to be more an occasion.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I come on that same background too.
If we're drinking too much, probably eating too much.
That's it too.
We're just overly stressed from work.
Right. That too.
Not taking care of our mental health. So
Exactly.
so many different aspects.
Yeah.
To your health. Me and my buddy, we actually started our own podcast called the Nonkai Podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where we talk and and we do it in a fun way, and we address these things like kind of lightly or heavier topics in a fun way. And that's why we called it the Nonkai Podcast, because it's a Hmong health. It's about Hmong men's health.
That's good.
And
That's a good name.
Yeah. And so we're addressing like drinking, mental health, your physical health. And it's as involved as I am about health. I went to school for kinesiology, so I studied this with the intentions of being a professional at this. But it's always evolving, and our knowledge of it is always like changing, and so it's always good to keep up with, and it's always fun, and there's a lot of information out there, and but it's all accessible.
So Pheng, we talk a lot about the pieces here where our main idea or concept is living the Hmong life. But chasing the American dream as well.
Oh yeah.
And I believe that's like the same exact thing you're going along with here now, because being Hmong, like our root is gardening. Our Hmong people we're great at that. They're gardeners. Like, because that's what they needed to survive, right? The main crop being rice and everything, right? And now you being in that idea of like, man, I still have to work, but I still got to do my gardening. I still got to take care of all of that. How do you feel like you're still being Hmong and that connecting back to like your daughter and your mom and everything like that?
Like I mentioned earlier, like just nothing makes me closer to my mother, to my heritage, and to being Hmong than when I'm outside working with the animals or working on the farm and garden. And I get to share this like wealth of knowledge that my mother passed down to me. I'm speaking a lot of English here. My Hmong, isn't great, and I speak Hmong to like close friends that I'm comfortable with. And so, there's, and defining Hmong is very hard, and especially in this day and age. And that's why I appreciate like your podcast, and I watched your episode about the funerals, and I'm going to be tuning in a lot more, where I think everybody defines it a little bit differently, and to everyone's experience is so different. One of my podcast hosts, he's Hmong Fakina. He grew up where there was no French people or no Hmong people. So when he came to the States, he didn't even speak English, and he spoke a little bit of Hmong, right? But or like no Hmong, basically. And so he only spoke French when he came here. And so we all, and I'm dancing around this because like it's hard to define it, and it's anytime I'm asked to define it or I hear somebody trying to define it, it's hard to put people in boxes, and then also I try to be careful to not isolate anybody or make anybody feel not Hmong, right? Because somebody can look at me and go, oh, I know how the Hmong Ming, I know like this guy's not Hmong, but hey, you know what? I bet that guy can't kill a chicken.
Yeah,
that guy ain't killing chickens on a daily basis.
I agree with that.
Gardening. Get out of here. That guy ain't never sat in the sun for more than 2-3 hours. Get out of here.
I think you're the perfect image of a traditional Hmong man right now in America. Because now you have adopted the American way of life, which is the beekeeping, the maple syrup.
Yeah.
Like they didn't do this back in Laos and Thailand.
Yeah, it's very Minnesotan.
But what they did back in Thailand or Laos was the sugar canes.
Yep.
Right? They did the sugar cane.
Yep.
And that's like our day and age now, like maple syrup.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah.
So I think like people don't think it's as incorporated, but I'm like, dude, this is like the traditional Hmong man right now if he was living back in Laos.
Yeah, exactly. You know, living off the land and kind of just and teaching you.
Yeah, you got the chickens running around like they do in
Exactly.
Laos. And they got the goats, right? Right?
Exactly.
And you got the pig. You got pigs yet?
Oh no, I want to have
See
pigs.
what I'm
I
saying?
will though. I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Pretty soon you're gonna have the pigs and the
Yeah.
cows, right?
The
You got
goal
the whole,
is
got the whole
cows,
ecosystem,
pigs,
right?
horses. I'm going to teach my daughter how to ride horses, and I
Right.
think that's one of my biggest goals.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have on your farm right now?
Just just the dairy goats, some chickens, guinea fowls, and the honeybees. So that's pretty much it. I had a turkey, but we'll probably as the season comes around, we'll probably up all of our animals again.
Okay.
We harvested some last fall, and then some didn't make it over the winter, and so we're kind of starting from scratch again.
So why did you choose those animals besides these other ones?
Everything is a learning process, like as much as I say is like ingrained in me deep inside, but like I grew up in the city, so my first time getting chickens was an adult, my first time goats were brand new to me last year, and so everything's a learning curve, if you take on too much too fast, then you end up overwhelming yourself, and at the expense of you and at the animal, right? You're that thing's just gonna die.
Right.
So
Gotta take care of it like it's a kid too.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. And so we're a small farm, small operation. I love all my animals very dearly. All of them I raise them with the intention to eat. But that doesn't mean that I don't love them while they're alive. Yeah, and we have a understanding. There's this very clear understanding that I'm going to provide you the best life, but you're going to provide me with dinner, and it's a cool conversation though. My daughter's like, so she's starting to understand this stuff, and I get to have this conversation about life and death, and I get to understand this. I get to have some of these where I think if you've never been out on the farm, you're disconnected with your food, right? Your mall, you go to the grocery store, you think your chicken's, and your eggs are just on the shelf.
Right.
You don't associate that with the animal, and at some point that thing was alive, and so because I do harvest a lot of my own animals, like we're a lot more careful with that meat. We eat it, every part of it, or as much of it as we can. Where I think in the past, I've been very wasteful. If you get a chicken gizzard, you're kind of like, oh, what am I doing with that? But now it's kind of like, all right, this thing is mine. I raised it. I gotta, I killed it.
Right. I feel like us in America now, like you were saying, we take everything for granted because like everything's on the shelf, and we're like, oh, what is that? Is that even good to eat? But if you go like out of country, and they're like, man, everything is valuable within the animal, and you treat it as a valuable piece of meat. And you just take more value in it, because you grew it with your own hands, and you took good care of it, like how you're doing now, right?
Yeah. Yep. And so that's and those are the values that I want to pass down to my children too. Is just take care of your environment, take care of the people around you, take care of your loved ones, animals included. So, yeah, it's a really cool thing. Yeah.
Pheng, you're in here with a bee suit, and tell us the importance of bee within the environment and agriculture too.
So bees pollinate, and bees aren't the only insects that pollinate, or some birds pollinate.
Is that the hummingbird?
Yep. some, and then some of the smaller species of birds. There's a lot of local different types of insects, different types of bees, all play some role in pollinating. Bees are just the most efficient. And they're actually an invasive species. Insider secret, honeybees are invasive species to North America. And so they were brought over from the Mediterranean because of the ability to kind of farm them, and the fact that they're very efficient at pollinating. So they play an important role in the environment. Essentially, if we don't have pollinators, plants don't flower. Or if they do flower, they don't fruit.
Does that help with your gardening too?
Yeah. I would like to think it does.
Okay.
Yeah. I would like to think it does. Yeah. I can't say it tastes any better than anyone else's, just because I have bees on my property.
Right.
Because the fact is, like, there's like natural pollinators where they are too. It may not be as efficient, and it may not happen at the rate that it happens at mine. But
so I saw you on one of your Facebook posts. You're still learning more about beehives. And everything.
Oh yeah.
Are you a professional by now?
No.
All right.
No,
Where
no,
did you learn all this?
No.
Where did it all start clicking?
And the truth is, and this gets into a conversation of, at what point do I call myself a farmer, right? Or at what point do I call myself a beekeeper, right? At what point, if you play darts, right, does that mean you're a dart player, right? Are you that's a bad example. If you play soccer, you're not a soccer player, right?
Yeah, right.
You just play soccer. So at some like it's hard for me to say I'm a beekeeper. But at some point you gotta legitimize yourself.
Exactly.
And so I'm not a professional at all. I'm still learning.
Okay.
I just started beekeeping 2 years ago.
Okay.
I actually got something on my Facebook news feed, my history, and it said I got a letter in the mail like, oh yeah, if you want bees, here's how to do it. And that was when I was still living in the cities, and that was just 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, no knowledge of bees, no knowledge, nothing about pollination, pollinators. I knew a little bit,
Right.
but all that information is out there, and so I learned how to beekeep just through YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched a ton of YouTube videos, and eventually I just said, all right, I'm gonna buy some bees. Bought some boxes, bought some bees, and just started working with them. I was telling you guys,
Where do you get those bees?
you just order them from bee farms.
Okay.
So like the bee farm I was saying earlier, Ames Farms.
Okay.
They work exclusively with bees, and they're a huge operation.
So anyone can order these bees, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's kind of this idea where, like, I tell people, like, you just got to do it. Like, everything's
Right.
accessible. The information is there, right?
Yeah,
It's all on YouTube. And this summer, I'm actually going to be taking my first official beekeeping class.
Okay.
You know, with my wife, and Ames Farms is putting it on, and they offered it to me after they realized, oh, dude, you've never taken a class before. And then they were kind of like, oh, dude, come on over. We'll show you how to do things formally. And I'm a big believer, and you just gotta jump in, and then sometimes it helps to just jump in and ask questions later.
Right.
If you start asking too many questions, if I said I can't keep bees until I get a bee suit, until I get bee boxes, until I get equipment, until I take classes, until I get certified in this and certified in that, until I get my own land, I'd never be beekeeping, right?
Right.
I spent my first year beekeeping without a suit. I was just freaking out there, shirtless and in shorts, messing around with the bees. Got stung a few times, but those are just the growing pains. And we're 30. We're in our early 30s, late 20s, right?
Yeah.
I think we're seeing a trend now for people our age, especially millennials and Hmong people our age.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, like like they just wanted us to go to school.
Right.
And so that's what we did. And now we're there and we're kind of realizing, oh, this isn't what we want to do.
Yeah.
And so everyone is kind of looking at, all right, what else can I do? What actually makes me happy? But I come across so many people that are just so scared to take that first step.
That's true.
And I encourage people all the time, just do it. You don't need, like, everything nowadays is so easy now, right? Barrier to entry, I say this all the time, but barrier to entry, so it's so low now. If you wanted your own talk show, right?
Yeah.
You all up in the mic, tell the camera, you
That's
know,
right.
You record on your phone if you want to.
Yeah.
If you want to be a rapper, dude, you just record on your phone. Put it on YouTube. Now you're a rapper.
Yeah.
Right? You want to be a beekeeper? Buy bee boxes.
Yeah.
Buy some bees.
I agree. Like you just got to start to get somewhere. You can't just be starting and be a professional and being great at what you're doing already, right?
Yeah.
You just have to start it. And
Yeah.
like when you first started, how many bees did you?
I just started with one bee colony.
Okay.
And then just one bee
How many
box.
are there in a bee colony?
Oh, you can have anywhere from like 10 to like 80,000 bees in one bee box. You know, that's like stacked like 3 high or whatever. So
But there's one ruler in them all. Which one is
yep.
that?
So there's one queen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the myth is that the queen is actually like rules them.
Okay.
The queen is actually like the colony is its own kind of mind, and the queen kind of works for the colony. At some point, even the colony will kick the queen out and make new queens.
Describe what a queen looks like. I imagine the queen like, man, it's huge, but what does a queen bee look like?
It's really cool. And again, my first time seeing a queen bee was like, getting the boxes. I was already out there working with the bees.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like a regular bee. It's got a longer dorsal. Actually, if we pull that, I brought a frame, and there's actually a queen cell in here.
Okay.
And I can kind of show you, and I don't know if we can do it up close with the camera or not. Sure. But so this is what a bee frame kind of looks like. And so the queen will lay eggs in every one of these.
Right.
And the queen can lay up to 2,000 eggs a day. And so that's how you get large populations of like, the 80,000 bees.
So did you build this yourself?
I bought the wood, and then I assembled it.
Okay.
And then the bees made the wax, of course. This is actually a queen cell on this corner here. So where a normal bee will come out of one of these cells, a queen cell, when a colony decides that, hey, we need a new queen, or they sense that we don't have a queen with us anymore, they'll build a queen cell, or they'll turn one of these cells into a queen cell, and they'll just start growing a new queen. And so you can see this little hole at the bottom. That's kind of where the queen came out of. So when they're in there, they're getting developed, and so it's
what
such
is
a cool
what is a
process.
typical lifespan of a queen or bees in general?
It could be 2 to like 3, 4, 5 years.
Okay.
But one bee itself is like 40 to 60 days. In the wintertime, they live a little bit longer just because they're not working all day. But in the summertime, a worker bee will work itself to death. And a lot of times, like, it'll just like die of exhaustion after 40 days. So I love that analogy for Hmong people, right?
Yeah.
We're just grinders.
Sure.
Right? We just work. That's all we know how to do. Yeah. And we just work for the betterment of our family, for the betterment of our people. So the bee as a analogy is a great analogy for our people. Yeah, because, I mean, I don't know harder working people than we are.
True.
And so we just, a lot of times, we'll just kind of work ourselves to death. And, it's tough nowadays, right? Because we got to be more careful because, we got families and stuff. We can't just kind of work and grind until there's no more. But, so I don't know. There's so much, like, man, we need like 4 or 5 different episodes if we're going to really dig into it.
Definitely.
Well, let's do this, though. This summer, you guys come up. I'll put you guys in bee suits.
Damn, I love that.
And we'll dig into a bee colony. I'll show you guys eggs. I'll have you guys taste honey from the beehive itself. You guys aren't allergic to bees, right?
No.
All right, we're good to go then. We'll plan a day this summer. We can film the whole experience.
For sure.
Yeah, it's such a fun thing. I encourage everybody to do it. And
You know, Hmong mới lo lụt thì gọi vả li su dan dong li su mu. I feel like you're it, man. Because everything Hmong people do, they have value in it.
Yeah.
And the colony of the bee, like you're explaining to us, man, I finally get what Hmong lo lụt thì vả li su dan dong li su mu. I finally understand it. Like, it's rich in gold, and people hustle so hard to get what where you're going to, you know, like that gold.
Honey.
Yeah.
It's that honey.
That honey.
Yeah.
So I finally understand that analogy.
Yeah, and it's not, that's why I was saying, like, it's not one leader in that queen.
True.
It's the colony. The queen works for the colony just as much as, like, the worker bees work for the colony. Everybody does their job for the betterment of the colony. Yeah. So, yeah, I love that as an analogy for our people. And, I want to teach my daughters those same values, so yeah. And it's, I don't know, I could geek out about this all day. I'm sorry. Anyways,
No
sorry.
problem. I think everything we do brings value to the table.
Yeah.
And everything we do it's important to what we're doing too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, what about some mindsets? I know mindset is a thing where you when you endure into entrepreneurship, it has to be a thing like you have to be, your mind's got to be set oh man, I got to be driving all the time.
Yep.
I got to be improving my business all the time. You mean just getting into this podcast where like always on the go and always doing something?
Yeah.
How is your mindset right now with your bee colony and doing your products and doing managing your chickens and your goats? Like, what's your mindset with that?
Also
Are you just, like,
podcasting,
on
too.
and go?
And
Or
this
what's
is
going on?
This is where I said balance doesn't exist for me, because I'm always thinking about this. We moved out here with the goal of creating this farm, and so if I'm not at work, even when I'm at work, I'm like thinking about the farm.
Right.
It's nice to have, like, that's why I moved careers to get a more mindless job. And so I can always just be focused on this. And, when I'm not with the kids, I'm just constantly always thinking about this and growing and developing this. More recently, because of this and because of the lip balm and the hand lotions and stuff and having our website, I've had to be more of a salesman. I don't like that. But, I got to. And I find myself posting every day, and I find myself really trying to sell what I'm doing. And as inauthentic as it may feel, it's a necessary evil. I talked about moving out to the farm to give myself like a mental break. And now, like, with the business picking up, like, I have to come out of my shell a little bit more and reach out to people. And so I've actually, just this year, I've reached out to a ton of people, sent out a bunch of samples, and the reception has been great. A lot of people are really excited about what we're doing, and, getting a lot of more opportunities. But as these opportunities come, like, I'm kind of like, oh, dude, family, farm, I gotta make sure I focus on these things.
you're a guy with many hats.
Yeah. And so I did this to give myself a break, but man, it's not much of a break, man. And I'm taking on so much more. But, I'm doing this for myself, and I'm not doing this. Yeah. I'm not working 60 hours a week for somebody else, right? Yeah. So I'm building my own thing with the idea that I'm going to pass this down to my children. And I'm teaching my children an important value in chasing their own dreams, chasing their own goals, and creating their own paths, right? One of my biggest fears is, like, my daughter just goes and works a desk job. And if she's happy with it, she's happy with it. And it's not to say anything's wrong with that. Yeah. But my biggest fear is just that she's unhappy with that. And so I want to encourage and teach her that, and encourage everybody to, if you're not happy where you're at, find something that does make you happy, and see how you find a way to create some kind of business plan around that. You know, I always say that, you know, Hmong, like, we're slowly entering the middle class, you know, where there's more expendable income. And Hmong, like, we want to support each other.
Yeah.
So if you come out with something original, creative, and authentic to you, and you can tell a great story, Hmong people will always back you up. And that's a beautiful thing about our community.
Yeah.
You know, that's why a lot of our Hmong artists are doing amazing things.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of like small Hmong businesses are thriving.
Yeah.
Right? Podcasters are springing up everywhere just because, one, like, these things are all kind of new to us. And we want to support each other. We want to hear more Hmong voices. So, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. But yeah, do what makes you happy. And I already forgot what the original question is. But yeah, do what makes you happy. This was, you know, I've been very blessed that, you know, I've found this.
Yeah.
And I've gotten this opportunity to do this.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know,
Peng, what
everything's
about, yeah, go ahead. You go first.
Yeah, go definitely. Go first.
Peng, what about we talk about the future here, right?
Yeah.
And why would people want to follow you now? What do you got in store a little bit? Give them a little hint of spice, so they'll be like, oh my God, go follow Peng now.
Man,
What is going on?
If
What's
I
the
haven't
future
already
holding?
convinced you already, man, and you know what? You're not Hmong if you don't follow me. No, I'm just kidding. No, but
That's true.
No, but yeah, like, this is just, I mean, my story is just anybody else's story, man. I'm not anything crazy or different than anybody else. I'm just a normal guy. Like I said, I went to school, you know, I did what I was supposed to, right?
Yeah.
You know, what mom and dad wanted us to do. And I got there and I realized I wasn't happy, and so I went out and chased my own dreams. And I encourage everybody to do that.
Yeah.
As far as like in the future, you know, we want to continue just growing what we have here as far as the bees. So we're gonna scale up on our number of colonies. Eventually, I talk about getting horses and teaching my daughters how to ride horses. That's the ultimate goal. You know, ultimately is just to get to a place where I have something to pass down to my children, and I can give them the best life imaginable. And that doesn't mean selling and making $1 billion. It just means if I can quit my job and just spend time with them, and make enough money with this to do that, and kind of give them like some of the you know, few things that I want and that they want. I mean, that's a win. As far as exciting, man, I don't know about exciting new things. Yeah, just follow us. We're talking about, you know, we got the podcast, we got the farm. The podcast, we're talking about a lot of Hmong men's health. Career health is big, right? Relationship health. There's a lot of things kind of going on with a lot of conversations about domestic abuse and what that is looking like in the Hmong community. Right. And so we want to eventually touch on those subjects without we want to be careful to not call people out,
right?
You know, and we want to bring light to a lot of those subjects without turning off the people that need to hear that conversation, right? Because a lot of times, like, we hear a lot of people, a lot of great, powerful people say a lot of great things, but they already isolated the population that needs to hear that the most, and the people that needs to hear that the most is already shut it off. So with our podcast, we want to keep those people in tune, and hopefully include them in the conversation, give them a voice, but also maybe let them see that, hey, we're in a different place, in a different world now.
Right.
And the farm, you know, give us a follow.
Yeah,
definitely. Follow Guerrilla Pastures too on Facebook, and I feel that if us Hmong men we share more of these great information, we can better value ourselves too.
Yeah.
But before we end this show here, we have a tradition here on the pieces.
All
Leave
right.
one perspective of being Hmong in your lifetime.
Or that one piece of advice you want to give out to the community. Like
Definitely.
leave something behind. That's why we're called the pieces. It's that
Yeah.
one piece
One
that
piece.
Pheng
So
is.
many pieces. Be true to yourself. The best way you can represent Hmong people is by being the best version of yourself, putting your best foot forward, being authentically yourself, whatever that means. Don't let anybody define what Hmong is to you. You define your own Hmongness. And so be true to yourself, whatever that may be. Find your own place, create your own path, be happy.
Thank you, Pheng. And be sure to follow Pheng too. And give us a like on Facebook. Give us a like on YouTube. And thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you again, Pheng. Thank you again for coming on the
guys,
show,
man.
brother.
Hey, this is fun.
Appreciate
This
it.
is fun. Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, this summer you guys
Yeah.
got to come up. And,
sure.
we'll put you guys in bee suits.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
give us some more follows so we can go hit up Pheng and his farm too and see us in some bee suits.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a podcast from the bee yard.
There you
We'll
go.
put everybody
That'd be
in bee
great.
Suits, bring your mics out there and just sit in front of the bees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Have 'em
All right.
buzz around us.
Thank you,
All
audience,
right.
for tuning in. Ochona.